Alright, so first thing I'm going to say is that you're probably on a little bit of a tilt since you've lost the past few games. Now personally, I don't play more than 3 ranked games a night, and if I lose 2 in a row, I immediately quit for that evening. This means even if I've only played 2 games that evening, if I
Welcome to
lose the first
Summoner's
2 I play,
Rift.
I won't play the third, I'll just play some normals or something. I'll take a break. Because play on tilt is really not good. You don't want to actually grind ranked games. I feel like if you just play a bunch of games in succession, um, especially like ranked games, you tend to develop what I like to call temporary habits. So like if you're,
30
say you
seconds
win
until
like 2
minions
games in a row.
spawn.
Well, in the third game you're gonna go in, you're gonna feel good. And say you won lane past 2 games, like those first 2 games. Well, you're probably going to game 3 thinking, oh, I'm gonna win my lane, or I need to win my lane. And you might be a little bit over aggressive, you might be a little bit cocky, play a bit overconfident. By limiting yourself to only a certain number of ranked games, you can prevent yourself from falling into these traps. And it's also good to always take a break, maybe play some
Minions have spawned.
normals or like ARAMs or something just for fun. I mean, you don't have to do what I do, just stick to 3 ranked games a night. But I would definitely recommend breaks, especially after losses. Like if I lose a game, I won't immediately queue again. I'll sit there and think about the game. And I mean, I go until just like everyone else, I make mistakes. I get kind of mad, like, oh, this ADC who sucks is beating me because he got a gank bot or something. And then after the game, I'll sit there and think about it and tell myself like maybe I should have like just backed off, just thought about it more objectively instead of getting mad just because I knew their AD carry was bad and that he was just getting basically lucky with the jungler he was ganking. So anyway, I'm gonna stop with that ramble. I'm just gonna go ahead and start watching this game. Now you want to be careful here because the problem is you're actually behind Graves in terms of current trading potential. Now you are pushing, and so you will hit level 2 first. But since you were trying to trade with Sona, Graves is still full HP. Was, and so if he was attempting to trade with you right after you had finished trading with Sona, he would have a slight advantage. Now both you guys are level 2, and that's the advantage of pushing lane. So that's good. Yeah, with Sona this low, you guys should have control of the lane until she does go back up.
First blood.
I'm honestly not sure this is It's a lot easier if mid comes down, but mid died, so I mean it's not like Zac got his buff stolen either. Now I'm not sure if Leona was trying to go for Graves. She probably was, which is still correct since he's basically in lane solo. But you do want to push this wave. Basically, if he's in lane solo. Oh, this is so risky. Yeah, that wasn't bad. I mean, no one died, and you forced him to back. So now, yeah, you want to push this wave, and force him to basically lose this whole creep wave. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You push the wave, and you're going back. So that's good. You are still behind Graves in CS, although you do have the advantage of an assist. So pretty much you have to keep that in mind. Actually a good time to drop a trap, because if Leona goes in like that, if she engages, you generally want to drop a trap immediately under, so that he basically gets stunned by Leona and then snared. Not much you could have done there. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have burned flash there. Because with Kate, I know you had enough mana for the EQ combo. If you EQ like Graves, pretty much would be the best target. Because he was here, you just EQ him and you basically get here and then just run over here and you save the flash. I really wish I could see your team chat, because I know you definitely pause here to type something. I don't know what, but I don't really recommend typing anything. I mean, it's kind of obvious what the mistake was, that Leona didn't have a ward here, and I mean, I don't think you. I mean, there's just nothing constructive I don't think that you could have said. This is kind of an issue in lane, because you generally want to be in lane the same time as your support is. You never want to be in a situation like this. Your support could be dead. Doubt it, but you always want to be in lane the same time as your support, because if you go back, then your support's basically doing nothing. Or if your support's in lane but you're not, then it's kind of an awkward situation, because you can never push bot lane solo unless you're like extremely ahead. And so by going back, I mean, you were out of mana, and I mean, you went to shop, but like you picked up a clip of agility, which is really not that great of an item to pick up. Like when it comes to building your Thin Edge, you want to pick up this item last. Like I would just stay in lane, and just try to save up for BF sword, because getting, I mean, this is 730 gold right here, almost half of a BF sword that you're spending on 15% crit chance. Trap. Or not, I guess, yeah, if Leona ults, then you don't have to trap. But if you drop a trap there, she may not have to ult. But you still picked up the kill, so that's good. But with Leona, you just want to get in the habit of, when you're playing Kate, to drop the trap. That was a good pickup there. This is the awkward situation again. Like, I would not be in lane if Leona was not in lane. You are extremely ahead, so what you did is pretty much fine. But like, if you're ever in lane when your support's not in lane with you, or if you create that weird timing issue where like one of you Bs and then like the other one stays in lane, and so like you have really weird inconsistent timing of both players being in lane, that can really screw up your laning phase. I'm not sure how close you are to a BF sword, but if you didn't pick up the Cloak of Agility after that second kill, when Leona would have had to go back, it's likely that you would have had enough for BF sword after clearing like the wave or something, or like killing a few minions, and then that way you would both be going back at the same time, and you would come back with the BF sword.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, see, like, basically what you guys have now is an awkward timing. So you're going back, Leona's coming to lane, but Leona's not going to be able to do anything in lane. Like, it's best if you guys have basically synergy when you guys go back and when you guys come to lane. That way, because like Leona's just going to sit here, and it's kind of like really awkward for her, because she's not going to get anything done. She actually can't even like hold this tower really, if they were to pressure it. And so it's always best to try to have synergy between the support and the AD carry when they're in lane and when they're going back to shop to get items. It is good that you picked up the Infinity Edge now. So now you basically should be able to just win lane. Because Graves finished his Berserker Grease first, which I don't really recommend. You should always go damage first. And now that you have Infinity Edge, you should just basically be trying to fight people. Or like fight whoever comes into lane, unless you're completely outnumbered. So this is good here. That's, yeah, that flash is really greedy. But I guess she picked it up, so that's good. Now you guys don't have a ward, so I would have dropped that trap probably in this bush over here. You guys basically have no vision. Yeah, you can't see if a gank's coming. You're pushed, and if someone comes, you.
Shut down.
I do like that you did pick up a ward though, but I would have definitely placed it, at least on Dragon. That was definitely a good pick up there. This Leona's actually taking advantage of a lot of things. She made a lot of plays bot lane. Barely got out of that.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Alright, so right now, now that you've taken bot tower, okay, that's good. You picked up a ward. Yeah, I would definitely start buying wards once your laning phase is over. They're incredibly important in the mid game. A lot of people will buy wards for laning so that they can see for ganks or spot for ganks, but then they tend to like just stop buying wards after laning phase is over, which is really bad because when you need wards the most is when laning phase is over and you're in the mid game. That's pretty much where you're back in the mid game. I would definitely finish Berserker Greaves before picking up the Cloak of Agility. Because once you've taken their bot tower, that's when you really need boots because you're roaming around the map. Basically, it's the mid game is approaching, and you need to make plays to really pull your team ahead. So like laning phase, you guys were ahead, but if you want to capitalize on this lead, you have to put pressure during the mid game, and you have to make plays in the mid game. That means warding the map to contribute to team vision, so you can catch people who are overextended or out of position, and also grouping up, or at least having mobility so that you can pressure lanes and pressure objectives. So like mid tower is still here. It's good that you push bot. You want to go mid for sure and pressure this tower. You want to capitalize on this advantage you have here, that you guys are heading team gold. You just want to pressure towers. Pressure all the outer towers. Get every dragon that you
Rebel
can.
team's turret has been
Ward up their
destroyed.
jungle whenever you can. And just catch people off. Extend this lead. Because even if you're ahead in the laning phase, if you lose the mid game, you will likely lose the game. That was actually a really good play on that one. By using Q to get vision here. You guys are still in the lead and still have all their outer turrets, whereas they have no turrets and no dragons. The thing I don't like about Drake's build here is probably when he has the CS to have turned it into a bloodthirster, which is much better for him in terms of scaling. You guys want to be looking at taking this dragon if possible. I don't know if that ult was really necessary. Because it is the mid game, and I mean, the cooldown's over a minute, but there could be a fight coming up where you may want to have that ult. Really important in the mid game that you don't get caught because you're the AD carry. You're the most important when it comes to a team fight. So when you die, they can try to force a team fight and they have a very good chance of winning.
Rebel team's turret has been
This is really good on
destroyed.
Rengar's part, capitalizing on the fact that they're all mid and taking the tower. But they are not out of this game by any means. They do have a CS lead on you guys in terms of players with creep score. So they did get a dragon as well. So the difference is not that much.
turret has been destroyed.
Good that you're pushing bot. Definitely be sure to ward somewhere like around here or somewhere around here, or even this if you're gonna push, which I think you're doing right now. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I believe this ward is not as okay. It's not bad, but you wanna put it more like to the center of this bush. So like, if you put it in the center of this bush, you get more. You get like the same amount of vision down here, but you also get more up here because you see like both sides of the bush. If you put it right here in the center of the bush, you see the other half of the bush, and you see like up here as well. I mean, it's just like a small nitpicky thing about better ward placement, so you get more efficiency out of your ward. Teamfights all over. That's good.
Purple team
Pretty much I think the mistake there was the focus on Renekton for a while. Zac engaged on Malzahar. Malzahar ulted Zac. And then it's just a combination of like positioning issues. I think you stuck to a target too hard. And so you were over here. I think it was like Udyr or someone over here, and there's like another guy over here. You never want to be in that position. You want to. It's good that you enter the team fight last. That's the right mentality. But you want to pay attention to who on the other team, like where their positioning is. Because if anyone's over like here, you actually need to just get out of the team fight and go back in. That way, you're the last one. You're like on the edge. Because the moment you die, like the DPS in the team fight just drastically decreases. So you don't want to be ever like sandwiched or caught between several people. Bad for you. They just lost the game. The problem with Leona and Caitlyn is she actually needs to as opposed to initiating on Graves. I think that's the issue there. You're not gonna be able to. You can only heal yourself so much. So I would ask Leona to peel for me. If I was in this situation, I would ask Leona to peel for me in the next fight instead of initiating on Graves, because she basically dove straight into their backline and got killed.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
The other thing is they also have some pretty tanky champs, like Renekton and Udyr. I would definitely rush Play the Ruined King instead of Phantom Dancer. It seems like you're actually just building off kind of a cookie cutter build, or like some guide that says Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, and the Last Whisper. You have to build situational. If their team is tanky,
Purple
I mean
team has
even now
slain
I
the
would.
dragon.
You could like sell the Phantom Dancer and then try to get the Blade the Rune King. You need that percent health shred to be able to DPS these guys. Because they don't really have armor. I mean, Renekton has armor in the Sunfire Cape. But you need percent health shred. The last Worcester will be good to be able to do damage to Renekton. But against Udyr, you're still stuck with the same problem. You don't have, besides like crit, you don't have a way of shredding them, like their health. And since they're so tanky, like they're much more tanky than your team. And so when they come in, you're not able to shred them as much as you need to in order to basically win these fights. Your team fight positioning in the last fight was actually really good. I mean, you survived, you got out. I don't think there's much you could have done. It's just item-wise, I feel like better teams is good. And also remember that Blade the Rune King is a way to play for it, so you can always steal it from the side and just kind of lock you down. Good pick up there. Yeah, one thing is Graves is shredding Zac and Rengar to some extent with that Blade of the Rune King. That 5% of the current health on hit is just so strong against champions that stack HP. I don't think Leona is even, I don't think she's going for you fights. And that's another reason to skip Blade the Rune King. Your support's not going to feel for you. Like, you can ask them to, but they may not know how, especially at this level. And so that's, you just gotta do what you can. Whether it's get Quicksilver Sash, get a Blade Rune King, whatever you need to be able to peel for yourself better. Because you're basically forced over here to fight Renekton. I mean, that's just a bad spot to be, really. There's not a lot of ways to re-engage into the fight. If you're getting locked down like that, literally just don't be here. Wait like 1 or 2 seconds. Wait for Renekton to focus someone, and then come in. Now he may switch targets, and then you might have to you may just be screwed, and you have to basically try to kite him and then re-enter the fight again or something. But if your team isn't able to peel for you, there's not a lot you can do. Like I said, you should have got a Bork. That way you can actually shred Renekton. Like Renekton can 1v1 you. And you should never lose to a bruiser when you have your net for the slow, you have the ability to attack move.
Purple team has slain Baron Nashor.
Your ranged AD carry, you should be able to kite Renekton. mean, it just comes down to a lot of things like teams not peeling, you don't have a Borg, so you can't kill yourself, and you also can't shred Renekton. You entered the fight at the same time as the rest of your team, even though you were positioned in the back, which is good. You were in the team fight at the very start, and so anyone who knows who should be focused, like Renekton does, is just gonna lock you down, put you out of the fight, and then their team's just gonna win. Pretty much what you guys have to do now is defend and wait for Baron buff to be gone. Wise to ward up your own jungle at this point to prevent any sort of like camping or waiting going on. Because any sort of pushing now is just really dangerous. Yeah, he did. I mean, there's not much I can really say about that. There's nothing you can do to control your teammates. He did trade 1-for-1, which isn't too bad for Baron, but yeah, Zach getting caught here, you guys are gonna lose an inhib, most likely. Other things, I wouldn't go Vamp Scepter. If you're not getting Peel, I would've got like a GA, most likely. The Guardian Angel. It's something that will reset you, so that way, when there's a team fight, you don't have to worry too much about getting locked down. You can go down and the GA will reset. They'll be forced to switch targets, and you can actually DPS someone like more important than GA gives you a lot of freedom. That's a disadvantage. You want to avoid some fights when your GA is down, but at this stage of the game, winning one really good on your part. Really good positioning. They weren't able to lock you down. Now you can just go clean them up. Play this right. You should be able to pick up the game. Yeah, that was really excellent. It was mostly just positioning issues. Renekton couldn't get to you. It seemed like he wanted to. The initiation was here. He was forced to back out. I mean, you didn't really need Peel there in that fight, and that was really good. Just coming in last, being beyond the wall, and the rest of the team's over here. It's just really good positioning there. This might be enough to, well, if you guys have one more fight like that, then you guys should be able to at least take a tower, maybe get the next Baron. Now what purple side should have done is after Rengar basically traded with Malzahar and they killed Zac, they should have initiated here because you guys didn't have your tank. and it would have been, I mean, it would have been 4v4 with Rengar up. But I do understand why they didn't do it. Mal's is a huge part of their damage output. I feel like they could have at least gotten this turret. But they're ahead, so being more cautious is not a disadvantage. Or does not put them at a disadvantage. Definitely not a fan of Bloodthirster. You already have... You want to get a defensive item at this point. Either Quicksilver Sap, or something. I mean, even Blade the Rune King would be a much better choice than Bloodthirster in this case.
Triple kill. Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
One thing I will say is that Graves has not stopped farming compared to you, basically. It's much harder to farm when you have all lanes pushed. But Graves has been farming pretty diligently all game. And even though you stomped him in lane, he did still have a bit more CS than you did in lane, I noticed. This could be really good pickup. Spit at you. I'm not sure if you dropped that ward or someone else dropped that ward, but wards sitting in inventory, I mean, you've had these wards sitting in inventory for a long time. Your vision's decent. I mean, I would still come over here and like ward dragon or something. You want to basically ward so you can set up plays in the mid game. If you take something off guard, you can basically get an in-hit almost third or something. Just off of that, you have to do whatever it takes to make your team win, or at least increase the chances of your team winning. And that means you can't have these wards sitting in inventory for so long. I mean, it may be new to you to ward so much, especially as AD carry, but you just have to get in the habit of doing it. Because these two wards are, I mean, they're decent for your jungle, but they're not enough to make a play that can close out the game. And so one thing I like here is that Graves has a Guardian Angel. And that actually gives his team a significant advantage in this upcoming team fight, assuming they have decent positioning. if it's a fair fight, their AD carry with a Guardian Angel is a significant advantage. This could be good or bad right here. Pretty much you don't want to be with your team, if that makes sense. You want to be always behind your team, going to the team fight a couple seconds later, go in last, and make them switch targets. That's the only way they need to be able to initiate or focus you, is if they switch targets. Never start the team fight. Their brewers just immediately say, hey, this is the target we need to lock down, we're going to focus this guy. See, that's what's been happening with a lot of these team fights. You go in with your team at the same time, and Renekton or here, mostly just Renekton, just said, hey, there's the target that I need to focus. I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to kill it. That's part of why you guys lost so many team fights. I mean, you won laning phase, basically. You took their tower. You applied adequate pressure mid and top. But when it came to team fights, you seemed to always be there at the start of the team fight with your team. And that's how they were able to lock you down. Anyone who has any idea of target priority is going to know that if the AD carry's there, you focus them and you kill them. Now in lower leagues, if you come in 2 seconds later, most likely they are not going to switch targets to you and you can clean up. That's pretty much what happened here in this fight. I wonder if I can find it. When you guys
turret has been destroyed.
Alright, this fight right here, you came in last. It's a little bit before this fight. Believe it's... No, this is after the fight. Let me find it. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about it. Basically, when this fight happened here, the rest of your team went in first, and then you came in last. I mean, I did notice you tried to go at the same time as your team, but things worked out in a way that you did go in last. Like, the enemy team didn't have vision of you specifically until later. And also because Zyra initiated with ult, forcing them to back out. And so they couldn't target switch you adequately even if they tried to. That's why you guys won this fight here. Now, every other fight, from the fight up here where you got killed because you walked in with your team into this bush to wait for him, Renekton just came up, focused you down, and basically pushed you out all the way over here as the rest of your team died over here. And then because you didn't have a BotRK and you didn't have Last Whisper at the time, you couldn't even duel Renekton. He was basically able to solo you over here. So that's another thing, just item choice. If they have 2 guys stacking health, I would not go Phantom Dancer, at least not second after boots. I would get the Blade the Ruined King. That will allow you to also peel for yourself, because you had no peel in fights. That's one problem. And you can't rely on your support to peel. I mean, you can ask them, but if they're not going to peel, then they're not going to peel. You need to peel for yourself, whether that's Quicksilver Stash if Mal's was focusing you, which he wasn't, or you get a Blade the Ruined King. Because Blade the Ruined King combined with your net, you should be able to peel yourself quite adequately, because in most of these fights, it was only Renekton focusing you down. Either it was like kind of running around doing other things, focusing someone else. It was mostly Renekton. If you can steal Renekton's movement speed, kite Renekton, then you should be fine. Plus, the Blade the Ruined King gives you % health shred, and so you'll be able to actually take him and then re-enter the fight. Or if you're not chunking him enough for some odd reason, you can movement speed, or you can steal his movement speed, and then try to focus someone else that you're likely to shred, as you just basically kite and stay away from him. I saw a lot of things on both sides that your team did capitalize on and that their team capitalized on. Last team fight, Mouse was definitely out of position here, but you guys went in. He used Zonia's, and that's what saved him. Uh, the rest was you guys being clumped up right here. That's another case of you just being with your team, like you going in at the same time as your team, and you never want to do that as AD carry because that's what killed you over here. They initiated, you guys were clumped, and they just, I mean, you died first in this team fight. And that's not what you want to happen in a team fight. You do not want to die first as the AD carry. You don't want to be dying at all. And so pretty much just that. Your laning phase was good, it was fine. Your pressure mid game was pretty adequate. When it came to team fights, that's where you basically, well, team fights and item build, I would say. That's where you didn't do quite as well. And I mean, your team could have played better. Like I said, you could have got peel. But if your team's not peeling, there are items that will help you peel. You need to get those items, especially when they're stacking health. Blade the Rune King is just so good right now. I know just Graves got it. He used it to self-peel himself a couple times. He used it to basically shred Zac. Um, Graves was doing a lot better than you in this game, even though you beat him in laning phase. He was better in the mid game, and the better AD carry in the mid game is more likely to win the game. Especially since he got GA. You never got a defensive item. You got another Bloodthirster. I would not recommend that. I would get a Guardian Angel or some sort of reset, especially since you weren't getting peel. You need some way to basically contribute to the team in the mid game in a way that will make your team more likely to win. And GA, or even like Frozen Mallet, although I would have gotten GA because I'm not getting peel. Um, and Renection was basically able to lock you down. Uh, you need to be able to DPS in the team fight, not get shoved out of the team fight, and to be able to peel, be able to shred these guys. Just some things that you could have done. You can't make your teammates play better, but you yourself could have been a little bit better. And I don't know, you may still have lost the game even if you got a GA and a Blade the Rune King, but team fights definitely would have been a lot closer. So that's pretty much all I can say about this. You did great in laning phase. It was just team fights and item build that could have been a bit better. And also your wards, you probably should have placed those, so just leaving them in inventory. But that's just something you just got to get used to. I know you're not used to buying wards as AD carry. I'm glad that you're buying wards, but get in the habit of warding during the mid game and late game. It doesn't matter what role you're playing, even if you're not support, because no one else on your team warded, and wards will win the game, or at least they'll win the mid game for you in a lot of cases. So be sure to place those.